What is going on, everybody?
Hey there. What's
Battle
happening?
Bros here again, baby.
What is
All
going
right,
on,
folks.
folks?
We're going to open up this episode. Welcome to episode 019, Camaraderie. We're going to open up
019er.
019er. We're going to open this episode up with, we're going to give an honorable mention to a gentleman from Ghost Rider Company. He was the guy that actually served in my unit. It was brought to my attention by a fellow battle, excuse me, by a fellow battle bro that uh, Dustin Kaysen, who served in Ghost Rider Company. He was a buddy of well, let's just face it, my buddy Brian Marengo served in. We recently lost him to the unfortunate statistic that we are doing our best to try and combat by bringing you the material and the topics that we bring you. Dustin Kaysen, just want to let you know, brother. We understand that it was difficult. It's going to be less difficult now for you, and everybody that served with you still loves you, and everybody still remembers you. Other than that, that's really all I got. So, Mako, take it away, brother.
So, yeah, it's never fun. We have to start on a solemn note like that, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it just makes our purpose that much more important and that much more prevalent to just be like, we got to put an end to this stuff, like
Yeah.
right now. So, but we, it's very sad and it's very tragic, but we're gonna do the show, and we're gonna keep pushing the message forth and getting it out there and building the community, and we're gonna start that right now. So again, welcome back to the Battle Bros podcast. This is episode 019. We are going to be talking about camaraderie today. So this what kind of got brought up. So you can see that we're both kind of wearing matching shirts here. So there we go. Alamo's gonna do it much better because of his camera angle. But Alamo and I went out and we did an event this last weekend. It was the Veterans Run 10K, which is on the beautiful Courtney Campbell Causeway Fitness Trail.
Oh God, yeah.
It was a blast. We had a great time. We were probably
We rucked it and yucked it up all at once.
rucking and yucking. I mean, just that's absolutely, man. It was great. So, but it was such a great event. I did this 2 years ago, and just the sense of community, was amazing. It was a little bit smaller this year, which wasn't bad. But I mean, we were sitting out in the parking lot, getting our packs settled, and getting make sure I had all our stuff squared away. And remember that British guy comes up and goes, "Oi, mate, you guys gonna do this in boots?" Yeah, that's the goal. Packs too. Yeah, he goes, great. Carry on, man. Carry on. It's just like I don't know about you, man, but I was like, I was super freaking motivated.
Oh man, I was super stoked for the whole time, man. Like especially when we had more and more people kind of just calling us out, like, "Oh yeah, get it, man."
You guys got packs and rucks on. That's amazing. Like the guy was like
Yeah.
running the whole thing. He was just like, "Oh, come here, I gotta get you guys." And snapped our picture or something like that. But it was
I
a
remember.
blast.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about doing it again next year. If you if you're looking for something to do on a Sunday and just want to get out of the house, and it's a great event. It helps to support an organization that helps veterans. They send care packages to guys all around the world. I think once a quarter, and like these care packages are like goodie box. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. I think like hygiene products, like a little bit of pogey bait, whatnot. But it's a cool event. Anytime we get to support the troops,
the pogey bait. I haven't heard that in forever.
Yeah, but it's a great event. It's a great cause, and shout out to everybody that followed along and watched the videos that we post on Facebook. Special shout out to my my brother, my younger brother, and my mom who got out there and kicked their own asses on the 5K. Yeah. And mom just had her birthday that Friday, and she's been training all this year. So special shout out to mom. I'm super proud of you. I love you. That's great. And keep it up. Let's do it again next year. So Alamo and I have already talked about we're going to do it again next year. Maybe a little bit different. But we'll kind of save that for right now. But anyway, so because of that, we were sitting here talking on our production meeting. We're like, you know what? Let's just talk about camaraderie, because just the sense of when they have 4 different events. They have the 16-mile course. They have the half marathon, which is 13.1.
Yep.
They had the event that we did, the 10K, and then they have the 5K, which my brother and my mother did. And they start the long distance runners out first. So like when those guys got started, everybody's at the starting line, clapping them on, just like woohoo, cheering them and all that kind of good stuff. I mean, just everybody was just looking out for each other. I mean, one of the most humbling things was Alamo and I were sitting here and we're just, having a great time, sucking it up a little bit, just with the packs on. And there was this old timer that was in front of us.
Yeah. I called him the Mighty Eagle.
Yeah, I don't remember what the guy's name was, but we looked it up. So this guy,
Eagle.
You could tell this guy maybe had like a previous injury, or just kind of showing his age a little bit, because he kind of had like a little bit of a hobble.
Yeah.
But this guy was getting fucking after it. So you go on the website, and when you get done, you can check your results, because it's all done through a GPS chip that you wear on your runner's bib and stuff. This guy was 75 years old, and he went out there and fucking killed it. So Mighty Eagle out there, you're still a fucking animal. So props to you, sir.
And he was super humble too, man. Like I remember talking to him afterwards. I was like, "Man, you freaking killed us!" And he was like,
I didn't have a pack on my back.
I wasn't carrying anything like you fellas, so I was like,
dude. But I mean, it was kind of cool just to kind of be unique and be the only 2 guys that were out there, rucking.
Yeah,
and that's why we do this event.
Remember that younger guy right there in the beginning? He said, "Oh, you guys are gonna ruck it the whole way." We were like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah, hell yeah." It was like, yeah.
And it was kind of cool being the only 2 guys. Like when I did it a couple years ago, I had a buddy of mine, Ryan, went out there and he did it, but he had like 80 pounds in his pack. He ended up jacking up his knee a little bit, and it took him a while to finish that 10K. Yeah. But there were quite a few other guys out there, so it was kind of nice just being the trendsetters and all that kind of stuff. But
I had like 3 blisters, but whatever.
I'm glad I didn't have it. I had a couple of hot spots, and within a couple hours they were gone. So it's like, it was awesome. But anyway, us here at the Battle Bros podcast, we want to encourage you to come out and do it. It's usually in November. It's right around Veterans Day. You can check it out. It's called the Veterans Run. You can check it out. It's a great event. It's for a great cause. And I'm telling you, like, the scenery is gorgeous. The weather was beautiful. With the 10K, you go up. If you've ever been on the Courtney Campbell, you go up. You're on the bridge
off of the ocean, man.
Dude, I mean, if you don't believe in the Almighty after seeing some stuff like that, it's like, man, I got to start asking you some questions and shit. But it was awesome. And, there's a lot of people that I would say, hey, man, come check it out. It's great. It's for a good cause. It's not that much money. The earlier you sign up, the less expensive it is. And it's just wonderful. And especially when you got, somebody like, this guy right here to go through it with. We did it right. I mean, I'm super thrilled. We had the little speaker sitting there. We had some angry tunes playing to keep us motivated. It's awesome. So
yeah.
Anyway, so because of that great experience, we're going to talk about camaraderie for this show. So, and it's kind of fitting also that we just Thursday we just had Veterans Day. So to all the veterans out there, we want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for putting your name on the dotted line, raising your right hand, and saying hey, not on my watch, not today. So
damn right. To all of our brothers and sisters out there, keep it going, brother. Rock on. Stay hard. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that alone. I was gonna say something, but I'm like, yeah, let's keep it on the down low. So
I opened it up for you on purpose, bro. I was waiting for you to say something, but
Are we talking about the shame thing here? That's what she said. Anyway, let's keep it serious. So we're gonna talk about camaraderie, and especially with us just having Veterans Day, it seemed like a very fitting topic this week with us doing the event, Veterans Day, and all that kind of stuff.
So, man.
So let's get the ball rolling. So, what
Let's do it.
exactly is camaraderie? So, camaraderie is defined as a mutual trust and friendship among people who spend a lot of time together. The military.
Mhm.
So, and why is camaraderie important? Camaraderie is important because of the fact that it's this bond you develop with people, no matter where you go, no
Yeah.
matter you know what your life experience is. It's always going to have you're always going to build that, even if it's coworkers. I'm reminded of, if you've ever seen the movie Waiting. Okay, it's a movie with Dane Cook and Justin Long, and it's about working in a restaurant.
Ryan
And what was
Reynolds.
oh yeah,
That was
but
one of
what
his
was
like kind of slightly bigger movies. That was kind of one of the movies that
breakout
kind of
breakout
helped him
kind of put his
along a
name
little
on the
bit.
map? Yeah. So what was cool about this movie, though, is these two guys were talking about their experiences, and they both worked in restaurants, but they were like in two completely separate parts of the country or two separate states or something like that. But they still had that joint kind of similar experiences to be like, oh yeah, I used to hate freaking have to do cleaning up the serving line and all that kind of crap. And that's how they got the movie written, and it was awesome. It's a great movie. It's kind of not really related to what we're talking about, but kind of. So bear with me.
Yeah.
But so and as Alamo put on our picture on social media for this topic, the number one thing that guys say they miss, and people that say they miss once they leave the military, is just having
Yeah.
that sense of camaraderie with their battle bros and battle sisters and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man.
And it's hard to replicate that in the civilian world. Now, we kind of want to give a little bit of a disclaimer here. So the term camaraderie does kind of sort of come from, a lot of people think it comes from comrade, which
Yeah.
would be the Soviet term from the Soviet era, like World War II, communism type stuff. Not exactly the same thing, so don't get it twisted. We're not going down
It's
that road.
not the
It actually,
fight we miss most, is I think how I put it.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't worry about us saying, comrade. We're not going to be talking in Russian accents saying comrade. We're not doing that. We're
We
talking
won't
about,
be asking to drink some vodka in here. We won't be doing that.
we're not going to be sitting going, what the hell was that? We're not going to do all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so that's us being terrible at what we do. So
Yeah, pretty much.
so why, and also kind of camaraderie and how it relates to us getting out, and how it can lead to some kind of negative stipulations later in life. So
Yeah.
my co-host here found a fantastic article, which isn't very long, so I'm going to read the whole thing verbatim off of here. This is an article that was posted on
GI Jobs.
GIJobs.com. Yeah, GIJobs.com. I think it was posted a couple of years ago, and it was posted April 5th of 2019. Okay, so here we go. At the best of times, the military creates tight-knit camaraderie rarely felt anywhere else. Granted, we had to wade through some BS to get to it sometimes, but often that camaraderie is what got us through it. There's no doubt that military camaraderie is something special, and it ranks as the number veterans miss when they transition to the civilian world, as I just said. Even though we've moved on, we don't have to lose those relationships. Here's some advice on how to keep military kinship alive after you've gotten out. Okay. So the first part of this says, bring military camaraderie to the civilian world. Many civilians you will encounter can only imagine what the bonds of military brotherhood and sisterhood look like. But you can bring the value of military kinship to the civilian world. Look out for a friend/coworker. Offer help when they need it, and be loyal. Don't expect anything back. Accept the chance to change how the people interact around you. In fact, you may be surprised that the attitude is catching and spreads. Further, it can help identify those who may share fundamental values, and you are able to recreate a new form of that kinship that you miss. Create an impromptu support group. Military camaraderie goes beyond active duty. Now, we can just kind of change that to say military service, because I was on active duty for a deployment. You don't have to be active duty. It's that bond that you share. So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Chances are you aren't the only one who's transitioned into the civilian world. While finding
Mm,
success as a civilian, there are bound to be bumps in the road for you and fellow service members.
yeah.
Take care of one another. You may have distance between you. You may all work vastly different careers, but make a real effort to keep in touch.
Yeah.
If one of you has problems financially, family, etc., do what you would have done on active duty. Come together and take care of your fellow sailor, airman, soldier, marine.
Marine.
Sometimes this is as simple as sending a couple of bucks you can spare, arranging meals if distance permits, and or having a place your friend can crash during difficult circumstances. Take care of one another. Too many veterans fall by the wayside and find themselves homeless or suicidal. I will say that part again. Take care of one another. Too many veterans fall by the wayside and find themselves homeless
Homeless
or
or
suicidal.
suicidal.
Maintain your former community. We need to look out for each other. Okay. Extend community to fellow veterans. That military camaraderie is strongest among veterans who served together. However, it also exists universally between all veterans. Despite any generational differences, when you meet a veteran, there is an instant kinship and common ground. Welcome the connection. This might be a moment of camaraderie talking over coffee while waiting at the VA. Don't
Mhm.
doubt that these moments can go a long way, both for you and the fellow veterans. It can be good for the soul. You can take it a step further and volunteer with veteran support groups. Veteran homeless shelters, for example, can be a place where you can actively look out for the most vulnerable of the veteran population. Military camaraderie doesn't have to disappear when you become a civilian. While we must learn how to function in the civilian world, it doesn't mean we shouldn't take our military values with us. The
Damn
very
right.
concept, yeah, absolutely. The very concept of military kinship is a powerful value we can offer to civilian society and continue to give to our fellow veterans. We can maintain support networks and establish new ones. No, the experience won't be the same, but the military camaraderie can be just as important. And again, Alamo, props to you for finding that article because that thing that I read that and it was just like, absolutely, that's just it's dope. It's exactly what we're here to talk about. So
Yeah.
again, so like they said in the article, a lot of times, when guys fall out of the military, they lose touch, and not in the same sense, but I can say that I've experienced that myself because a lot of the guys that I served with, um, at the time I didn't have Facebook. I've only had Facebook since maybe about 4.5 years ago. And it was, you know, got on Facebook because I started working a new job and it was a way for me to keep track with, what was going on and, different customers and kind of gauging people and the reaction to, this said job. And
Yeah.
it was great because once I got on there, I started going through and just kind of looking up guys and finding guys, and you know you just reconnect, and it's a wonderful thing. You reconnect with somebody you haven't talked to in years, and it's like you guys start up a conversation like you never left the conversation. Like, dude, what were we talking about 10 years ago? You said something to me, and I was like, oh yeah, it was this, and you just pick right back up, and it's like this mental bookmark where you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we were talking about. We're talking about the movie reference of Silver Surfer versus the comic book Silver. I'm just giving an example, obviously, but it's so good just to have that conversation and just to have that sense of connection, and like it no shit, it could be a lifesaver, and that's important. There's so many things in this world which are just destined to try to keep us down, keep you know from accomplishing what you set out to accomplish, just keeping you isolated, and that's you don't want to
Yeah.
do. It's terrible. What do you got to add on this point there, Alamo?
Yeah. No, man, like for me though, like the biggest thing I see, like, because I know I went through it, was you run into issues where, like, I'm gonna kind of talk about it from like the negative side.
Sure.
Like when when you come home, like you don't have a lot of it, which is, and I'm gonna mention the obviously the statistic specifically because there were a few times where, because I got so low, I almost became a part of that statistic. And excuse me, the issue I found was that, which is what I'm pretty sure a lot of guys feel, is that you run into the issue of, you know, my guys ain't here, my bros, my brothers that I served with, you know, they're not here. I got to figure out a way, you know, to, you know, and you have to kind of figure out a way to adapt without having that kind of like support group. Because even if, you know, even the biggest jackass in the platoon, you'll probably get along with better than anybody else out in the civilian world, mainly because you served with them and because they know who you are and they know how you are. Does that
Can
make
I
sense?
interject? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Can
go
I
ahead.
interject something real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, for a guy, you know, I'm 37. I don't have any college experience under my belt yet. Going and sitting in a college dorm, or not a dormitory, but auditorium, and listening to a teacher talk, being surrounded by all these younger people that are like late teens, early 20s, scares the crap out of me because they
Dude,
just are going to have a different set of political values, which is fine. I'm not saying anything bad about that, but just they haven't experienced the same thing I have. Like if I do
yeah.
college, I'm probably going to end up just doing the whole thing online kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
that was kind of where I went wrong when I started college. I
yeah.
mean, and for those of you guys, like we're not down talking college. We're not saying college is
No, no, no,
terrible.
no, no, no.
We're not doing that. But the issue that I feel a lot of veterans have is you run into, from our perspective, you run into these, I mean, I hate to say it, but these younger groups of kids, you know, and you're dealing with people that you really don't feel see the same reality you do. And
You might as well be living on Mars while they're all from Venus. I mean,
yeah, and it's a very disheartening experience, because then you get these guys or gals or whatever that they want to talk to you about, oh, you're a war veteran, you know, this, that, and the other. Oh, did you, you know, go and do this? And oh, did you kill anybody? Or oh, did you do this? Or did, and like, first of all,
it's probably very similar to like the Vietnam veterans coming home and people just calling him baby killer. I mean, not
yeah,
quite the same thing, but in the same, when you boil it down to the nitty gritty, you have folks that just, you know, you got to understand, we enlisted in a time when our country was under attack. Our country
yeah,
was brought to its knees by an event that was just terrifying and
yeah.
just
You know
absolutely
what's
horrible.
you know what's sad is there was actually I was actually in the group chat of a veterans, which I don't even. This was a few years back, and I don't even remember what the hell it was. Um, and somehow, um, you know, the subject of veterans being baby killers kind of came up, and this young lady was basically saying, "Oh yeah, da 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 da, veterans are baby killers," and that. I'm like,
Check that box again.
I was like, "Are you serious? This is still something going on in like 2017, 18, whatever year it was."
Yep.
And I just, me being me, when I run across ignorance like that, I can't stay silent. And granted, it was Facebook, so
And you have to be careful too, because, you know, especially with us being GWAT veterans, Global War on Terrorism veterans, we're very
yeah,
snarky, we're sarcastic as fuck. So
yeah,
we'll just kind of give you peace for mind, and it's just like,
yeah.
next thing you know, you're just speaking your piece like it's normal. And they're just like, whoa, geez, like, hold on a second.
Let's
What
just
did I
say
say?
let's just say I spread her picture all over Facebook and made her famous. Um,
Oh, went that route. Okay.
God, I'm not proud of saying that shit.
Own it.
But because
Hold on
I
a
don't
second. Hold
remember
on. Whoa, whoa,
exactly
whoa.
what I said. I don't remember exactly what I said, but yeah.
Time out. It's like the meme with Dave Chappelle says, modern problems require modern solutions.
Yeah.
So hey, man, do what you do,
Um,
baby. It's all
and
good.
there was also a second time where a guy, I guess, obviously the summer of love or whatever, and this guy talked about, oh, these police agencies must be hiring nothing but veterans, blah 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 blah, that just want to go gun happy and all this stuff. And I
You
do
know,
remember what I said to that guy, and I remember saying specifically, I was like, first of all, for you to go ahead and distribute this kind of ignorance is absolute idiocy. Um, Number one, veterans and military trained individuals alike receive 10 times the use of force and escalation of force training than any freaking police agency anywhere. So the fact that you're even saying that shows how ignorant you are. The next time you decide to be so ignorant, make sure you do your research or keep your fucking mouth shut.
wow, stern
Yeah.
words.
Yeah. He didn't
You told
respond.
him. But that's and anybody, if anybody knows that your opinion is valid, no matter how diverse it is from the next person, like we get that
Yeah.
because we've been told
Because
that,
Yeah, because I
It's
made
yeah.
sure I let him know I was a veteran by even saying, "Yeah, I'm a veteran guy."
And ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you how awesome it is to have this guy as my co-host because without even knowing it, he just mentally linked us. Like, it's just you want to do it, you want to do it, you want to do it.
Okay,
We haven't done
sorry.
that
Go
in a
ahead.
while. It's all
Yeah.
good. So I was flipping through some channels on my TV, and they had a rerun of Cops.
Hmm.
And I'll watch it sometimes just to see what's going on. But it just happened to be a local agency. It was the sheriff's office here in Hillsborough County. And it started off and it had a gentleman who said, and it was funny because I just saw this the other day, and it completely goes with what we're talking about. He was like, I retired from the military. I did 20 years and retired from the military, and I was missing that sense of belonging to a group. So I joined the sheriff's
Yeah.
office and I got it back. And I was just like, huh. And we're going to be talking about this in a couple of days. I'm like, that's not by accident.
Yeah.
That's a divine,
Hmm.
somebody's looking out up there. So might have been you, Dad. Who knows? But anyway, it's just but that's what it is. It's not so much about we're not gun happy people, but it's just this fact
No.
of you give up and take up. Excuse me, you take up a cause that's bigger than yourself. I mean, for us, it
Yeah.
was 9/11. As we've mentioned several times previously on the show, there was something that happened. We raised our hands, stood up, signed our name on the dotted line, and just said,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're going to do our part," because that's what you did. Just like back when all those millions of people did so in World War II. Pearl Harbor got attacked, and they said we got to do something.
Nope.
Absolutely. So and to have that sense of that pride in what you're doing, especially with when you're in the military, you're doing various jobs, you're doing various things, and you don't always get to see the result of it. But the one benefit I would say to somebody who's working as first responder, police, some type of law enforcement or whatnot, you have firefighter, paramedics, even police dispatchers, whatever you want to say. I would venture to say that you can kind of see the results of that a little bit more clearly because it's in your
Mhm.
home environment. You're helping your community out. You're helping somebody. If somebody called your 911 operator and somebody calls up, somebody's not breathing. So you're telling them how to give chest compressions and basic CPR over the phone, and you save
Yeah.
somebody's life. I mean,
Well, yeah.
that
You learn the basic life saving skills. You know.
absolutely. Well, just the fact that you're helping, you're able to save somebody. I mean, you can kind of at least have the you kind of get to see that come to the finished result of that. We don't always get to
Yeah.
see that in the military, where we stop some bad guys from doing horrible things to people in this mountain, this village in a remote mountain valley of, BFE somewhere. So,
Yeah.
that's important. It's great to have that kind of, you know, to see the end result of, the hard work and the service that you're providing to the community. So that's
Yeah.
why we always, I mean, for me, especially like, just seeing all the different, police out there, like they have a tough job nowadays and not getting into politics, they're just not exactly the most popular people at times, but they put their
Yeah.
pants on like anybody else one leg at a time. They go do their job, they go home. you know, and we got to recognize that. So anyway, so getting back to what we were talking about. So why is camaraderie so important? We're human. We are social creatures. We're not exactly designed to be like the lonely
Yeah.
lion that's way off on the Serengeti plain. You know,
We
we're
are
very social creatures.
literally designed for relationships. There's no way of
Exactly.
getting around that. There's no such thing as a lone wolf, as everybody likes to. Oh, I'm a lone wolf. Well, you're a pretty sad motherfucker, let me tell you.
Jeez, man. Tell us how you really feel
So
about shit.
you do.
Whoa,
I'm
man.
just saying.
Pull a John here,
There's
bro.
no,
Bro. Pull a John here, bro. Bro.
bro.
Oh God.
I can't do with that fucking laugh, man.
Oh Jesus. So, you know, especially, you know, like we were talking about, like I said in the article, you know, people fly out of touch. And next thing you know, you become isolated. And there was a quote that, so Thursday for Veterans Day, I met up with, you know, a friend of mine and his father-in-law who also served. He also worked for another government entity after his military service. And he said something that just really resonated with me. He says, you got to understand, he's like, you talk to yourself the most. I was like, yeah. He goes, be careful what you tell yourself. And I was like, whoa. It's like, dude, just, and like, it really struck a chord with me because like, there's times, you know, when I do something dumb, I'm like, oh, fucking idiot. You know, you dropped a hammer on your foot, you moron, you know, don't do woodworking stuff wearing freaking chocolate flip-flops and stuff. Oh yeah. Like, I'm just like, I'll do something. I'm just like, oh, you moron. Like, and, you know, and then on the same token, you know, like I'll hear a child or like my daughter was having some trouble with some math stuff. And she's like, I don't get it. I'm dumb. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. I was like, Daddy's calling himself that because he did something that he could have prevented. You're learning this stuff that's a lot different.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, when it comes down to it, bro, we're all our worst critic.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's absolutely the truth, man. I mean, and especially like I've heard so many people just say like they have a hard time accepting praise from other people. And, you know, for a while, I mean, I could relate to that because like, you know, the jobs that I've worked in my professional life, you know, especially working in, you know, the retail sector or retail environment or whatnot, excuse me. You know, the nature of what I did, it's like my bosses only ever came up to me if they needed something special done or there was a problem or something's messed up or this customer had a complaint, you know? So it's like, you just kind of get kind of ingrained and indoctrinated into all that kind of stuff. It's like, I remember one time one of the owners came up to me, goes, hey man, I just want to tell you, you're doing a really good job. And I felt like Ricky Bobby. It's like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
Like, I just like I don't know what to say to that. Can you just tell me that I'm a worthless POS and just, and, you know, and this guy, he was just the most gracious person. And it was a absolute pleasure and a dream to work for him. He was just the most, you know, gracious guy. He was like, hey man, you guys are busy. Can I do anything to help? I'm like, honestly, sir, I was like, if you just want to help out back here and help, you know, just be a runner for the person, the cashier at the register, I was like, that would be great. I said it would help out. And not only you're going to just help people, show them that, hey, the owner's back here busting his ass working. It's like, that's going to motivate the fuck out of him. I didn't say it like that because, you know, he's a very, very godly dude. But, and, you know, it was a profound experience. It really was. And, you know, like I said, you know, just being in that social environment and all that kind of stuff, like, you know, just having gotten used to just there always being a problem or somebody coming up when there's an issue. And they're just kind of going through the motions of I'm the boss, you're the employee, and just, you know, the finger panging and the finger pointing and all that kind of crap. It's like you just get used to it. So, but yeah, I mean, you are your own worst critic, and you just have to be careful. You got to tell you know, especially like when you see parents tell their kids, like I see these great heartwarming videos on social media where these parents are like having their little kids repeat after them, like, you're strong, you're beautiful, you're intelligent. And it's like, it's uplifting as hell, man. It's just like,
there are such things as positive and negative self-talk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's important. And that's very important. So, you know, what can you do after the military to help you find that sense of camaraderie that you've lost. Like the article said, you can very easily take those military values, and those could be anything from a couple to numerous. I mean, you just have that sense of, the work ethic, the workmanship, pride in your work, communication with your teammates and whatnot, and
Yeah.
just bring that into the workplace and whatnot. What did you want to add to that, dude?
Honestly, like for me, it's that kind of thing of like there's like simple ways you can actually try and do it. Like you can. I mean, you don't want to like obviously like militaristically kind of like impose shit on people, but the simple things like getting to know the people around you. Like, I mean, who are you going to know better than the guys you served with? You ate together, you freaking worked together, you possibly sometimes shat in the same freaking like bathroom together sometimes,
Perfect example. Hey, Forrest, you lean up against me and I'll lean up against you. This way we ain't got to sleep with our heads in the mud. I mean, come on.
exactly.
You got
like,
Forrest and Bubba. I mean, come on.
yeah,
If that's not camaraderie, man. Like he went back to
yeah.
find Bubba and got the Medal of Honor and all that
I
crazy
gotta
shit.
find Baba.
I mean,
But see, that's
it's goofy to use that example, but at the same time, it works. It's like that's what we're
yeah.
talking about, man. Those guys were sitting there cleaning the floor with toothbrushes, talking about shrimp and
Mhm.
potatoes, shrimp stew, shrimp salad.
Yeah. Get to know the
That's
people
about it.
around you. I'm a conversationalist, man. Get to know the people around you. That is how you build relationship. That is how you build bond. Get to know the people that you're working with. Get to know the people that are around you. The more you know about each other, the more you can establish that kind of trust, that relationship, that kind of relational thing that we as people all seek. You know what I
That
mean?
we crave.
That we crave. Yeah, there you go. And I mean, honestly, and that's my way of doing it, man. Like, and you come to find that there's not too much that there's really indifferent about really most of any of us. You know, as a simple example, at work, I got a guy. He's a good friend of mine now. That work, um, he likes guns. I mean, not to go all ooh, and, have everybody talk about it and YouTube get all crazy on us, but yeah, I said guns. So what?
You're enthusiasts of the shooting
Yeah,
sport.
we like, yeah, exactly. Target shooting, all that good stuff. We like that stuff. And you know what? We kind of because of just one little thing that we found out we both liked, we found out we liked a myriad of different things. And
You
him and I
started
were
off
kind of,
kind of like over here. Next thing you know, you're like this.
yeah. But that's a simple way of trying to figure out like, and I think that's one thing that I find we as veterans have issues with. Again, I'm gonna go kind of positive negative on it. I'm gonna kind of balance it out.
Do it, bro.
Um, is we have difficulty talking to people because the experiences we go through, we don't feel like anybody can compare, let alone we don't feel like anybody can relate. You know what I'm saying? And when you run into those issues and when you have that kind of a mindset, you're not very open to trying to really try and build relationships with anyone outside of the military, which you can do as a veteran. But it's that. I mean, call it our bullheadedness because you got a bunch of alphas in one room. You know what I mean? And most alphas are
What's
going
it?
to take out other alphas.
Hey, man, you smell that? Yeah, somebody's pissing straight up testosterone over there. Awesome. I mean, that's what you get a bunch of A-type personalities. Like you're like, whoo, that piss reeks. Oh man, straight up
Mm-hmm.
A-type, A+ type personality.
Mm-hmm.
But buttress what you were just talking about. Yeah, we do have the I would agree with that statement wholeheartedly. Is the fact that, you know, on one hand, you can you have that connection with veterans, but for the folks that don't understand, you know, I would also venture to say that it's kind of a two-pronged thing. The first prong being that, one, you kind of know that there's going to be a difference of opinion, and like with me, I don't want drama, dude. I don't.
Yeah.
I did enough of that in the military. I don't want
Mhm.
drama. It's just like, hey, we can agree to disagree, but it never gets to that point. And the kind of the second part of that too is just societal norms nowadays. I mean, everybody isolates. It's hard to get people together because of this or that, or you can't get together in a gathering because, oh, hey, there's COVID restrictions. So it
Mhm.
makes it a little bit more difficult to do all that kind of jazz. So yeah, it's very hard. But what you were talking about though with your coworker, you know, the note that we put on our show notes list here is, you know, what really helps is to find a tribe. I mean, you had a conversation with a
Yup.
coworker about hobbies. So I had an experience it's either last December or it was, well, actually it was kind of two, there's two of them. I got invited by a former coworker of ours. You remember Eric that we worked with? Um, he invited me up to come up to his place, and they were doing, I think it was like, I'm not sure if it was Tampa Jeep Crew. If it is, great. If it wasn't, I don't remember what the name of it was, but they were doing this thing where they would go up to Florida National Cemetery in Bushnell, and they had two entire semi trailers full of Christmas wreaths, and there were people like the families of the interred that are there at the cemetery. You could pay to have a Christmas wreath placed on that person's gravestone, headstone, whatever.
Damn.
There were almost 100 Jeeps that showed up there. Like it was like watching like an invasion force getting ready to go into a third world country and fuck some shit up. You're just like, yeah, this is awesome. But they went through and they
Nice.
passed out all the wreaths, and everybody kind of got a certain area or certain ones they had to go through, and they had like all the headstone numbers because they're all numbered and whatnot. The section, and then the actual headstone number. And within 2 or 3 hours, like two whole truckloads of stuff. Like I was not even. It was probably 2.5 hours tops. But like within 2.5 hours, the entire place was just. All these Jeeps were just like they all got going like cockroaches when the lights come on. They all just went everywhere. But there was that, and we also my pal Brian invited me to go up to a thing that was going on. It was a Jeep club meet up in Ocala National Forest. So we got up, we drove up to Ocala,
Mm-hmm.
and just spent the day driving around the forest up there with these other Jeepers. And like the point I bring up this is like finding a tribe. You want to talk about just a cool freaking group to get involved with. Obviously, I don't have a Jeep. You know, I drive a car. I know,
Mm-hmm.
bummer. But what's cool about it though is you get all these guys. A lot of these guys are veterans. A lot of these guys are, you know, maybe first responders. You know, fire. There's quite a few firefighters out there. They are equally as important as Leo and military and whatnot. But everybody, it's just such a welcoming community. You know, people walk up and you look around at other people's, you know, how they have their rigs and their Jeeps set up, and they're just like, hey man, I'm curious, why do you have it like this? And it's like, hey, you know, I do like this because I'm trying to accomplish ABC. I tried this, I tried XYZ, it didn't work, so I'm going to this way. And you're just like, all right, cool. And you get to see some, you know, like how like different people have different products. Next, you know, you're writing stuff down. Like I getting to research this, you know, blah, blah, blah. You're writing like product
Yeah.
names down and find all this stuff. And it's awesome. It's just that cool sense of, you know, just, you know, nobody's trying to one up anybody. Nobody's getting into the dick showing contest. Like, that's what I got. What
It's
do you
like, oh
got?
yeah, why you got that set up like that? Yeah, I got it set up for simplicity. Oh yeah, I got mine set up for utilitarianism.
And why did you set it up like that? Oh, because I had 40 grand. I wanted to drop into a Jeep because, you know, that happens all the time. So, but it's cool though, because, you know, just finding that group that you can have that sense of belonging to, even if you just going out in the woods and going for a drive and stuff, it's like, hell yeah, man. You go meet up somewhere, you enjoy the weather, you get out in nature. Like I've got some great pictures and videos from driving through the forest, and we ended
As
up out.
opposed to doing a rucking yuck, you're doing a mudding yuck.
I'm a dud in the mud, so it's okay. So, you know, finding that tribe, and you know, something else that we talked about, and yesterday really made me, it really kind of drove the point home, is getting involved with a service organization. I mean, there's so many of them out
Yeah.
there. You have the American Legion, which my grandfather belonged to. You have the VFW, the Veterans of Foreign Wars. You have the IAVA, it's the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. There's
Yeah.
a whole bunch of these groups out there that you can get into and belong to. Like my grandfather won an award of some type for doing a service project for people in the hospital. He would take crossword puzzles and he would cut them out of the newspaper, and he would also cut out the solution. He would take a small piece of cardboard and he would paste the puzzle on one side and he would paste the solution on the other side. And what you would do is you could sit there and do the puzzle and whatnot. And then once you got done, if you ran into somebody else that was in the hospital, like, hey, you do go with yours, and you would swap them. So it gave them something to do, because, there's been times you stay in the hospital and it just feels like you're there. Dude, I've been here for 3 months. You've been here for 4 days. Calm down. Like, it's just, and like people just kind of get that hospital time warp thing going on there. So, but it was a way for, other people to do something and give them something to do, and just kind of him to help out other folks that were there. And, and it was awesome. He got an award for it. He was very humble about it and stuff too. I think I still have it at the house, but getting involved with something like, I really want to kind of do something like that, like getting involved with the Legion or the VFW, maybe getting to do some color guard stuff. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
all
Yeah, man.
all the crap we used to do in ROTC in high school. It's like, I miss that kind of stuff, because
Yeah.
you see the older guys, and some of these guys are getting to that point where they're kind of starting to die off and whatnot. So it's time for the next group to kind of come in and take charge and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, man, it's sad too, because it's obviously it's a circle of life, but we're losing more and more World War II veterans every day.
Vietnam veterans too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hell, even freaking Vietnam veterans. Yeah, man, we're losing Vietnam veterans every day too.
And I have a special kinship with Vietnam vets, because when we started working together, I remember a Vietnam vet coming in and just kind of shooting the breeze with me, and he's like, we want to make sure that what happened to us when we came home doesn't happen to you guys, because that was just all kind of dicked up. And I was like,
yeah,
oh yeah. So, but that's that's kind of our take on camaraderie, everybody. It's important, as we said, we're social creatures. We kind of thrive on having those connections with other people. Even the most introverted people still got to have some type of communication or some type of social connection or bond with somebody. I mean, whether
the
it's
most
family,
introverted types of people still have their groups of people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So,
tis what it is.
Tis what it is. So, you good, brother?
Yeah, man. I think we covered that subject pretty good.
Pretty good and pretty quick, which is surprising. So. We're gonna start closing the show out a little bit early. We've been kind of getting a little long-winded at times, so we're gonna try to keep this one under that hour time frame. But I think we've hit on all the points we want to mention. Get out there and have that connection with somebody. I mean, we were sitting at lunch the other day, and I was sitting there talking to a guy who was a Navy vet from Vietnam, and even though it was two completely different eras, two completely different branches of service, in two completely different parts of the world, it's like, you still have those bonds of connection from just going through that basic stuff. And it's just like,
absolutely,
there's a lot to be said for that, and if there's no other place you can go and see that on Veterans Day with the veterans, the different generations of veterans, it's like, it's a really blessed thing. And it's something to just cherish and to treasure and all that good stuff. So, reach out to the folks out there that are veterans, make sure you check on them, make sure they're doing okay, because a lot of these guys get isolated, and, what we're trying to prevent happens, and that's travesty. So,
and that's the thing, man, is like when you self-isolate, or even if it's like even if it's not even like a voluntary isolation, you run into the issues where the connection that you need between people is not there, and you start to have issues where, because you don't have people bonding with you, you run into the issues of just bad self-talk, which I mean I hate to say that, like, a lot of your positive input comes from outside influences. The thing is, That really is what it is. A lot of the positive, you know, I mean, unless you're one of those cocky some bitches, but again, you
Unless
know,
you're one of those khaki sons of bitches.
yeah,
I love what he said that.
unless you're one of them cocky some bitches, but even the cocky some bitches have negative self-talk from time to time. Don't let them fool you.
Oh yeah, they're
Um,
a lot of times they're the ones that are just taking that and flipping it and sending it outward because they have their
yeah,
own inner demons and voices in their head that they have to worry about and the bad self
yeah,
talk and all
damn
that kind of
right.
stuff.
And
And I always look at it like this too, is like, it's always great to have two people in on something because you can bounce ideas. I mean, like the conversations that we
two
have
is what,
had,
and one is what.
two is one and one is none. I mean,
Damn right.
it's great because you have two heads on something. You can look at it from a different perspective, and that's always
Yeah,
what I find crucial. Alamo has different perspective, different experiences that I've had, a different way of looking at things, and between the two of us, when we're talking about show prep or we're doing whatever, we can usually come up with something pretty good.
the
To kind
yin
of
to my yang.
with a yang. So hell yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, so we just, like we said, camaraderie is important. Reach out to your fellow battle, your battles out there, and your
damn
brothers and
right. Man.
sisters that were service members, and just check on them and stuff. So
Yeah, make them
with
talk, bro. We don't
with
want the unfortunate statistic to continue. I hate to say it, but now with a lot of these GWAT veterans coming back home, especially with the end of conflicts, the way, I mean, none of us like the way it happened. None of us wanted to stay in Afghanistan, obviously, or in anywhere else that there was a lot of conflicts. But the way things ended, there's going to be a lot of guys coming home, and they're going to need reinforcement, man. They're going to need to know that there's a group out there for them. So our message out there for everybody that is listening and for everyone that is watching, you know, make sure your veterans know that there's a place for them to go. Make sure that they know that there's people they can talk to. If you got to freaking show it every day by pranking them, because let's just face it, dark humor is something that we as military veterans excel at. Um, you know, Obviously within reason. Uh,
unabashedly,
yeah.
unabashedly.
Within reason, engage them in fashions like that. And I promise you, because I mean, again, humor is what is for us, for us specifically, I know, but I mean, most veterans, when you engage them with humor, they're gonna typically react positively.
Humor
Uh,
and sarcasm are very powerful tools when you're talking to keeping somebody from doing harm to themselves
yeah,
or others. I mean, let's face it,
absolutely, man.
we thrive on that shit, and
Hell yeah,
that dark humor, man. It has it can be very therapeutic. So
yeah. Let them know they're
it
not
really is.
alone. Keep them engaged and help them find a group.
And
That's
on that note, we're going to end how we always end with the
damn right.
Battle Bros Code. So the
Yeah,
Battle Bros Code is our little mantra that we use to kind of help people remember that they belong. We want to hear their story and don't ever give up because you can always fight another day. Okay, so
hmm
just remember the word bros. Be tenacious. Don't if you're going to do something, do it to the best of your ability. Give 110%, but only give 100% because that's all you can really give.
yeah,
The 110% thing can be a little bit misleading. So, but do anything you do to the best of your ability, whether it's taking out rake, doing yard work, doing homework. Don't half-ass a damn thing. Just don't.
yeah.
Refuse to surrender. There's going to be things that kind of get you a little bit sideways, cockeyed, cattywampus. Okay, don't let
Catty.
it don't let it beat you. Okay, just don't ever don't ever give up. Don't ever fucking quit. Keep at it
Never
until
give
the
up.
job's done.
Never
Never
surrender.
surrender. Great movie. Love Galaxy Quest.
Oh
Oh,
god.
obliterate your obstacles. There's going to be things that are going to specifically get in your way, whether on purpose or whether not on purpose. Okay. Sometimes you got to sidestep the stuff. Sometimes you got to get around it, go over it, go under it. Sometimes you got to use some det cord, some C4 and blow a hole in that fucking thing.
Royer.
get past the obstacle and continue on to the objective.
Yeah.
S, most importantly, S, seek out a friend in a time of need. Like we talked about, camaraderie is very important, even after you leave military service. There's folks out there that, the ones that, sometimes you got the ones that are checking on everybody else. They need the most help because they're outwardly showing that, they're being strong and being, somebody you can lean on, but they need help themselves, and they kind of deflect that by being that kind of personality. So just remember, everybody at one point or another needs help. Okay, just be there. Have a cup of coffee with somebody. Sit down and talk to them. Let them vent. Just get it out. There's times where I've called and just kind of had like, or a beer, unless you're probably somebody that may have a substance abuse problem. In that case,
in that case,
whatever works best for you, whatever is not going to put you in danger or cause you to go down a bad road. Okay, there's plenty of options out there. Stay connected, stay aware, stay alive. Okay, we don't. Our biggest mission is we want to give everybody a sense of purpose. We want to help people find their way after they leave the service. But really, we just want to make the veteran community the strongest community around. And you do that through outreach, you do it through the sense of community, you do it through just having that bond with your other military veterans and other folks and stuff. So it's important that, we look out for each other. We don't want you to ever have to have, I always mess up. I say it every show and I always mess it up. We don't ever want you to solve a temporary problem with a permanent solution. Okay. That's never a good route. Just call somebody. If it's not one of us, reach out to a friend. If you don't have a friend you can reach out to, you can always call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Okay. This is something that's a resource that's available 24/7. And the phone number is 1-800 273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. I was waiting for him to pull this damn thing up on the screen, so I'm like, oh, there it is. So again, folks, thank you again for watching our show. We appreciate and love every single person that watches the show. You keep us humble, but you also keep us driving to push this show further and give it more outreach and to reach the next person and the next person and the next person. So please continue to tune in. Please tell your friends about us. You never know what the show is able to do unless you just say, hey, check this out, man. This might be something that might help you out. We try to talk. We want to help break the stigma on a lot of these topics, and
which brings me to how you can actually catch us. You can obviously catch us here on the YubTub. If right at all, you can go ahead and hit that like button as well as the notification button, because YouTube has gotten a little strange. And if you don't hit that notification button and the like button at the same time, and also comment, you probably won't see too many notifications from us, but hitting that notification bell will let you know when we're about to live stream, as well as when we drop the new episode down. Also, you can catch us on the Anchor app, the Spotify app, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Breaker, Castbox, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Stitcher as well. There's a lot. That's a lot. That's a mouthful.
All right, stop and take a breath.
Yep, pretty much. You can catch us all the way on those platforms. And if you would like to throw a proverbial dollar in that tip jar for us, you can do that by hitting the support button over there on the Anchor app. And go ahead and drop us $1 or whatever. And you can help us out.
$1 we call your name and make you holla.
$1 a week, we bring you more content than make you holla. Ha ha.
That's good.
And you can actually help support the show, and you can actually help us bring you better content. And we want to bring you better content for sure, baby.
Absolutely. So on that note, thank you again for watching the Battle Bros podcast. This has been Mac and Alamo, episode 1019, Camaraderie. We've got about 3 episodes left in our first season. We're going to take a break from the holidays, so we'll have episodes 20, 21, and 22. We'll take a quick break, come back fresh of the year, first of the year, fresh and exciting and brand new. So we hope to see you then. But until next week, we're signing off. Thank you for watching. We hope to see you then, and we love you. And catch us back next week when we bring you our next exciting conversation about something important. So until then, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week.
Battle Bros out.
Laters.